back again. Got John here with me. I am LookWithin, or L-Dub as he likes to call me. And we've got a little treat for you today. We're going to go a little bit deeper into some subjects that we mentioned in the first episode. Basically, John had mentioned a little bit about 5G and their plans with that as far as, I mean, I'm sure everybody can do their own research on that, but kind of what they're implementing it for. I do have a little government website to go over with you guys, but I'll pull that up here in a minute. Did you want to say hi, John?
Hello, everybody. It's great to be back again, and let's just rip off another episode here.
Yeah, like that. All right. Well, I'll just jump right into it because we got some reading to do. So, as soon as I can figure out how to pull up I already had it all set up. Okay. So I'll minimize this. I'm learning, guys. Give me a break. All right. I've got a nice little website right here. So what I'll do is I'll pull it up. I'll show the sources. So as you can see, this is a government website, FCC, Federal Communications Commission. And what we're going to go over is what 5G had been developed into from, I believe it was the early 1950s, but it mentions in here. So you can see the name of the filer, David Morrison. I actually looked him up here. He was a lieutenant general of the Australian Army. He is retired. He's 66. So, 66 years old. Look at that. Anyways, also Tim Rifat, who is an author. He's also the guy who wrote this article. You can check these sources yourself if you would like to. And then I've got a couple other things pulled up, like what is ELF technology. That's extremely low frequency technology. And that goes into like low frequency beings and stuff, which is weird, but we'll leave that out. We'll just go stick to the facts for today. So it starts off, brief comment. This is from, I believe, David Morrison, and then it goes into Tim Rafat's biography or whatever you want to call it of it. It's basically his narrative of the 5G. So the brief comment starts, utilizing 5G has enormous surveillance capabilities and will be abused at the whim of law enforcement and the intelligence establishment. Millimeter wave is the same frequency used by airport scanners to see beyond clothes and naked body. This frequency has the same capability when directed towards the walls surrounding homes. It enables a view inside the home where movements and activities of the people inside can be observed. It will be able to provide not only data about movement inside the home, but what products people are using. This is a massive crime against humans, animals, and should be stopped by whatever means possible. People need to educate themselves and others as to what the 5G millimeter wave rollout will mean to all of society. Millimeter wave, 5G, and microwave mind control by Tim Raffat, UK Intelligence Forces and Microwave Mind Control. As a scientist researching into microwave weapons used on the general public, evidence that the GM900 microwave network as used by Vodafone by British Telecom is a major health hazard has come to my attention. Defense Intelligence Agency documents entitled Biological Effects of Electromagnetic Radiation, Radio Waves and Microwaves. Eurasian communist countries show that microwave frequencies similar to those of the cellular phones can both cause health problems in the following areas: blood, cardiovascular system, cells, central nervous system, digestive system, glands, metabolism, reproduction, visual system, internal sound perception, which would go into the mind control. Equipment to test the frequency and intensity of microwave phones shows that they produce signals similar to microwave ovens. The Vodafone cellular phones were producing 100 megawatt centimeter square and 50 megawatt centimeter square respectively. So I'm just going to say megawatt. I'm not going to keep going on with the centimeter square throughout it. The danger level for microwave ovens is 5 megawatt, and the Russians regularly use 10 megawatt for weapons research. These Vodafones will therefore cause significant health problems if used. A variety of cell phones can be tested to see how dangerous they are. The GM1800 system used by Orange uses higher frequency microwaves. Australian scientists found that this caused cancer in mice exposed to radiation of this type. The documents in my profession show that microwaves pass deeply into the body and can have negative effects on the brain and body. The DIA research dates from 1976 and shows the dangers were known about over 20 years ago. The Soviets used frequencies intensities by mobile phones, 1800 megahertz and 900 megahertz, as weapons. And of course, everybody knows we have much higher gigahertz frequencies now, essentially. So, I mean, that's why maybe if you're carrying your phone in your pocket all the time and it's starting to, do something hurting in your stomach or anywhere else, maybe don't carry it in your pocket as much, or try to set it aside when you're at work or something. It is a rule.
Yeah, if I was just going to cut in real quick there, Aldo. On that note, I've read and saw information on how the phone, you can't hear it, but a guy did a YouTube video, and I'm sure anybody can look this up. And on YouTube, a guy did a video of the sounds and the vibrations coming out of your phone and the frequencies coming out of your phone that you can't hear with the human ear, but at the low frequency, what the tones sound like. And they're not pleasant tones. Let's just put it that way. Check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah, no, that's something we could go into. No, I definitely have felt it myself, especially after I got a 5G phone. I started having some pain in my lower region, so while I'm at
I
work,
don't even carry mine anymore.
I try to keep it away from me. It's like over here, but
Yep.
try not to keep it in your pocket as much. Like that, I noticed when I keep it out of my pocket, because I work 12-hour shifts, so when I would be at work and then I would have pains in my stomach and all of my lower abdominal area, so I started setting it aside while I was at work, and the pain is gone now. I mean, it comes here and there, but I do believe that has something to do with it. Could all be in my mind though, placebo effect.
No, hey, bro, I haven't had my phone on my personal body for over 2 years now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good idea. Well, anyways, let me get back into this reading here real quick. We'll get it knocked out.
Yeah, totally. I just wanted to drop that note.
Yeah, no, for sure. Anytime you want to, just interrupt me. Where was
Heck
I?
yeah.
Negative effects on the brain and body, 900. So, and I'll leave the link to this in the bio. That way anybody can look it up themselves. I don't think I manufactured this as well.
That's what you've been doing all morning.
Yeah, I've been writing this out and filing it with the FCC, So it is a rule of the intelligence community that you hide things in plain view. Hey, that goes into karmic retribution. Getting the public to accept microwave mind control weapons, which affect their behavior under the guise of mobile phones, was a stroke of genius. Getting the public to pay for these microwave mind control devices so their brains and behaviors can be damaged to make them more docile and easy to control was pure diabolical genius. UK intelligence forces and microwave mind control, microwave weapons that turn people into stressed, confused, submissive zombies are being used in Britain's inner cities. Developed by the communists, microwave weapons similar to microwave ovens have since the 1980s been targeted in our inner city council estates. These weapons transmit extremely low frequency ELF signals, which mimic natural brainwaves at the flick of a switch. All the people around the microwave transmitters are turned into submissive zombies who cannot think clearly, become depressed, apathetic, lost my place, and want to lounge around all day doing nothing. Sounds like us. The inner city malice found in Britain's streets. Sorry, I'm not the best reader. With the advent of new elf detectors. Great. Thanks, bro. Designed by authors, research teams, the mass mind control of metropolitan UK population can be proved. ELF signals are efficiently only found at nuclear submarine communication stations, so the researchers were shocked to find microwave and UHF ultra-high frequency mind control signals in city centers. The authors flat being sent through the mobile phones, the BT telephones, and those are just like the telephones you have on the receivers, like the old style ones that were wireless, and from the numerous transmitters that dot the country. The massive increase in mobile phones enabled the UK security forces to use this network of transmitters to beam mind control signals into the brains of anybody living near these transmitters. Microwave phones use pulse-modulated microwaves of the correct intensity to pass through the skull in the brain and control behavior. Microwave transmitters are therefore the perfect medium for transmission of ELF signals to mind control the UK population. Researchers are of the opinion that the inner city riots of early 80s forced the Thatcher regime to deploy ELF mind control devices developed in the 1970s to turn the working class housing estates into total policing zones. In these zones, ELF transmitters turn their inhabitants into docile zombies. So successful was this technology that it expanded all over the major towns. Mass mind control of the UK public to make them submissive and obey authority was expanded. Hand in hand with the mobile phone network and military and police microwave transmitters, now the entire London conurbation is covered by UHF and microwave carrying number ELF. Research into the use of microwave weapons and their use for mind control began in the 1950s. Yep, at the Tavistock Institute. And that's a very interesting institute if you want to look into them. They do a lot of weird stuff. One of Britain's leading psychiatric research establishments, the UK Institute, was researching into ways of mind controlling the British population without them knowing. I need a little sip of water here so I can keep going. The monkey submission response, whereby the dominant monkey caused submissive behavior in the underlings, was the brain state most interested in the British scientists. Having found this specific brain rhythm for docile, submissive, zombie-like behavior, it was then recorded and used as a template for the ELF signal beamed on UK microwave transmitters. Britain was the first discoverer of the microwave technology used for radar in the 1940s, and therefore had commanding lead over everyone else in this field. The 1970s brought a darker side of the story with the news that the Russians were microwaving the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. 1/3 of the staff eventually died of cancer from this microwave radiation. Australia scientists proved in 1997 that tiny amounts of microwaves produced by the very safe mobile phones, I think I read that wrong. Australian scientists proved in 1997 that tiny amounts of microwave produced by the very safest mobile phones, so cause cancer in mice. When exposed to this radiation, Greenham Common was the first time that the Ministry of Defense was involved in the offensive microwave of women protesters. The so-called Greenham Common women, this event showed that the UK security forces were willing to use lethal doses of microwave radiation, on large groups of the general public. Equipment showed that the women peace protesters were subject to high levels of microwave radiation. Some of them have subsequently died from cancer. That's nice of them. Just, shoot the ladies with microwaves and give them cancer. That's awesome. Nice guys. Northern Ireland would have been a perfect proving ground for mass mind control technology. Did you have a thought there, Dunamis? John?
What?
Did you have a thought there?
No, I mean, I did, but it's just keep going and finish up, and then I'll just hit a few points when you're done.
Right on. Yeah, you can talk all you want. I'll be done with talking after this.
Yeah, you're cool.
Radiating this ELF frequency on microwave transmitters, cell phones, BT phones, and by the use of other transmitters, the inner city population can be behaviorally controlled. My research group have ELF detectors which can prove all manner of UK transmitters are being used to mind control the population. Since ELF is not found naturally and is only used for nuclear submarine communication, its presence provides mind control weapons are being used on the general public. The author also has access to scientific documents showing the devastating effects of ELF broadcasts by microwave, UHF, and VHF on humans. It is a legend that Marconi put this microwave technology into full-scale production, and around 30 scientists and military personnel on the project who began to ask questions committed suicide under mysterious circumstances. Jeez. Yeah, that's odd. My researchers cover up the evidence, My research has found that microwave weapons are targeted on the middle class troublemakers and researchers who cause problems for the establishment. Russian and American research has found that pulse-modulated microwaves, as used for microwave phones, can, when modulated with ELF, mimic specific brain patterns, change behavior of the victim in the flick of a switch. It has been found that UK security police, as the MI5, use the 450 megahertz frequency used for this research, legally allowed to be used by the police for behavioral control.
Legally allowed to be used by the police without the public knowing.
Yeah. Oh, they do that all the time. They pass laws without our knowledge all the time.
No, that's the point I'm making.
The freaking shadow government. Gotta love them. A
Hmm.
vast catalog of mind control frequencies in the megahertz range, FM radio, TV, and mobile phone frequencies have been measured, which are used in the UK mind control and are killing, disabling victims. And it's just a bunch of numbers. It's the different numbers of the victims, or actually, it's the different numbers of the symptoms it look like, or victims, either way. Symptoms can be depression, befuddled thinking, loss of memory, stress, not being able to cope, manic behavior, schizophrenia, nervous breakdown, psychological collapse, brain and nervous system damage, heart attacks, cancer. And an example of Brighton police van parked outside of the Brighton pavilion, which was used to beam UHF at microwaves at vagrants to clear them from the area. That's what you were talking about, and you can go into that as soon as I get done. All Brighton's city centers are bombarded with microwaves when vagrants congregate to make them so ill they have to flee. The Evening Argus newspaper asked the police if the white van, which was parked in the Brighton Pavilion grounds for months, was their van. They replied it was one of their surveillance vehicles. On Wednesday, 4th of February, the author was passing Brighton Police Station with a frequency counter which detects microwave weapons, and I detected a 452 megahertz microwave beam being directed at two young offenders sitting at the wall opposing the station. I confronted the police with the reading. Robert Galloway, spokesperson for the police, stated they were not interested in microwaves, and even if they were a danger to the health, and even if they were a danger to health, yeah. The author has uncovered widespread use of microwave weapons in Brighton by the police and MI5 as test program to clear vagrants from the city center. Contacting researchers in the field of inquiry, they all complain of microwave-like symptoms, headaches, nausea, giddiness, eye damage, ear problems. Reading I have taken show that the 750 to 1000 megahertz range is used by the intelligence services for inducing nervous and physical collapse. Microwave ovens give off 1000 megahertz. On the Channel 4 program For the Love of the New World Order, shown on Monday night at 12 p.m. on April 6th, the author revealed some of these facts on television. The presenter and researchers of this program complained of severe headaches in the days preceding filming symptomatic and microwave attack. So, John, if you get bad headaches and stuff in the next few days, just let me know so we can know if we're each getting that stuff.
Well, hold on real quick. Let me drop some notes here on this real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
So, from studies I've done, it seems to be, unfortunately, that the majority of the human race, due to agendas and indoctrination, are resonating at lower frequencies.
Yeah.
Now, when we're resonating at that kind of a frequency, we can be affected by these devices more effectively. But I will tell you, if you start doing meditation out there, everybody, and you start doing the work to get away from the spell casting language that we speak in terms of understanding and using correct words, because there's a lot more power in words than most people understand or understand. And doing your meditations and going into that zero place, and getting that reset, keeping yourself at a medium to higher vibration, and then luckily in those zones you won't be affected by these technologies as much. So that's just a note there to let people know how you can prepare yourself and have some sort of a defense mechanism towards these tools that they might use in the future. More, they already are using them, but more in your face style during a riot, or like crowd dispersing techniques and stuff like that.
No, I like that. I like, let's just not do all the fear porn. Yeah, we'll do solutions as well. That's kind of, we discussed that before. Give people solutions as opposed to just, fear porn. And then I've read as well, I mean, you can look this up. We have our own EMF field around us, otherwise known as the aura. And a lot of people's are weakened by all the crap we eat, by all the chemicals in our food, obviously being around harmful EMF waves. So I agree with you totally, because by meditating and eating good food and taking care of your body, you'll increase your electromagnetic wave frequency, so that way you can fight it. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. You're totally right there, LW. And then a good point on that is that no, in the language, like I was talking about, is I'll give you an example. The word hello. When you say hello to somebody, you're actually saying the word hell
Yeah.
with an O added to it, and the O is actually the prism or prison system where you're going in the circle and eating your tail. And so what I'm saying there is actually the true original word for halo is actually HALO, halo,
I like that.
like the
I like that.
halo, yeah, like the halo of energy around your crown chakra.
Right. And I just learned that blessed means be less. Is there something else I can say
Yep.
other than that? I've been saying favored now, and I'm sorry I blessed you all at the end of that last video. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
no, it's
Just learned.
fine. A lot of people, we're all learning. The etymology is really new for all of us. You know, even I, being a 20-year plus student in etymology, esoteric knowledge, and things like that, I've only touched the surface of language in studying the true root natures and origins of words. We
Yeah.
all need to be working on that because that's where the true stories lie in the language.
Right. Right. I agree totally. Here, let me get through the rest of this, and then
Yeah, keep
we'll go
going.
into some
This
more
is
stuff.
great stuff.
It's awesome. I just was looking this up and I found this site. I was like, man, I have to share this with people.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally.
Proceeding filming, symptomatic microwave. Yeah. At the foremost non military expert microwave weapons, remote viewing, psychic spying, and psi warfare, the author became aware that the microwave problem when he was targeting to stop his forthcoming book on the remote viewing being released. This book on psychic spying, published by Century Books, and the first book by scientists on the subject of psi warfare and the techniques the superpowers developed. Subsequent to the filming of the Channel 4 program, he was arrested by the Brighton police on February 15th outside of their building, and his frequency counter was confiscated to stop him recording the use of microwave weapons and around the police station and in public places in the town. Even though no law was broken, it appears the Brighton police are worried that their use of microwave weapons on Brighton vagrants is coming to light. That's interesting. I've read about that too. The psychics, the whatever remote viewing and everything that they had. That goes into like the movie Men Who Stare at Goats and whatnot. They kind of tell you in there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
The UK government
Mm-hmm.
has also brought up all the readily available frequency counters, these being the Watson FC 128 frequency counters and the Optotronic devices. And the
Smoke
manufacturers
another one.
smoke them if you got them. The
Yeah.
manufacturers now market a modified model, which most preferably has digital filters so that the microwave weapon frequencies given above cannot be shown. The author's frequency counter has still not been returned. With such high level manipulation of events, it seems that the microwave mind control is part of secret police policy, which is being practiced on the general public in this country. As part of a covert government policy of harassing and disabling critics, the means of attack is not covered by law and highly deniable. The perfect intelligence device for civilian control, the author's flat is targeted with a 900 megahertz beam, which seems to be designed to cause massive neurological damage and produce tumors. The BT phone network has a potential to be used for docilization of the UK public. A 30 to 40 megahertz signal was carried by the phone. When the earpiece is placed against the head, bone conduction carries the ELF component into the brain of the phone user. An ELF signal which can affect behavior or health is therefore passed into all BT phone users. It appears from experts I have consulted on the subject that the digital phones have been designed to carry this mind control carrier frequency. Vodafone has supplied a mobile phone to a friend of mine that pumps out 847 megahertz signal at over 100 megawatts. This is equivalent to 4 times 100 watt light bulbs being turned on in the body of the user. That's awesome. This means that mobile phones can potentially be used to kill or disable persons. They no longer become a problem to the establishment. Another Vodafone tested pumped out 50 megawatts. UK safe levels for microwave ovens are 5 megawatts. Okay, so 10 times the amount, and then 100 times the amount, and then 100 times 4, which are not held near the head. There are reports by military researchers that 1 megawatt will cause swelling of nerve cells exposed to microwaves. It is obvious that total policing.
Yeah, just real quick. I didn't mean to just cut in right there, but
You're
just
good,
real quick, I wanted to say is just imagine everybody the amount of effect this is having on a nanoscale level. Like we're very physical beings, and we're from the agenda and the indoctrination that we're all accustomed to. We're really used to living really on the surface, and we don't really think about those small areas that are being affected. Like if you like thought to yourself right now, okay, my liver, and then you think like on a microscopic level in the liver and the effects things could be happening. It's so much more than we realize.
Well, yeah, and they tell us that a third of our population will have cancer. Like they just tell you that straight up. So, I mean, this is talking megawatts and stuff. We're in gigawatts right now with 5G. We're at
Yeah.
6 to 30 is what it operates at, and they can turn it up to 300. And you can look that up yourself. I won't look that up for you, but I have looked it up and I've seen it with my own eyes. You can look it up right on Google. But I mean, I'm going to put this out there right now because I know they believe in karmic retribution and all that stuff. So I do not consent to you using your microwave tech on me, and neither does John. Right, John?
Exactly. And
Right.
I want to say also out there, another protective measure that we can use is look into copper clothing and copper necklaces
Little
and
bracelets.
bracelets. Copper is probably the best protector against RF waves. Gold as well.
Yeah. You can carry some
So
pennies on you.
also,
Pennies got copper in them.
yeah, yeah.
Carry some pennies.
But yeah, so
They're cheap.
so copper and gold. Yeah, cheap.
Whole
But
roll of
copper and
pennies.
gold, those you're killing me. Copper and gold though are two of the best neutralizers for RF.
Yeah, right on. Sorry, I interrupted you like 3 times.
No, you're fine.
No,
That's fine.
that's
dude.
good advice. That's really good advice.
Yeah,
It's probably why they don't
yeah,
want us
no,
having any coins or gold anymore. Oh, coin shortage.
yeah,
Look at
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Can't get any
It's
coins.
anything to get the metals out of their hands. Yeah.
And reading all this makes me realize why everybody's so unstable nowadays and needs psych meds and whatnot. But they don't.
Yeah,
need
it's
'em.
kind
They
of
don't need 'em.
interesting too. In baseball, the copper necklace actually got really popular, like the magnetic necklaces. It got really popular and picked up a lot of energy there. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of went away.
Yeah.
And I wonder why. The media must have been told not to really punch the line on those products as much
No.
because you don't see them in any like you don't see copperware or gold, clothing lines. They're out there, but they're not put out in the media for people to buy, really.
Not for us. Only for the Royals, man.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But I'm about to get a full copper gear,
just get a full copper man.
full copper suit.
Yeah. I mean, hey, man. I think our frequency can combat it. You know what I mean? As long as you work on it.
No,
expand it.
totally. Like I said, the meditation and like where you are morally and where you are with your frequency and your soul really can help combat that more than anything, I would think.
Yeah. Okay, I found my place. It is obvious that the total policing of the population by means of UHF, VHF, and microwave EM radiation, amongst others, is being used to keep the UK population in a docile and submissive mental state. Mental confusion can also be added to the signal for working class, inner city areas to keep them docile and confused. A land of stultified zombies who are mind controlled to make them docile and unable to think clearly. Subversives are habitually targeted to microwaves that drive them mad or make them fatally ill. On July 4th, 1976, 7 giant transmitters in the Ukraine, powered by the Chernobyl nuclear facility, pumped 100 megawatt radio frequency at the west, which contained 10 hertz ELF mind control frequency. According to U.S. scientist Dr. Andrija Parich, sorry, I butchered your name, MD, the Soviets' pulses covered the human brain frequencies. With Dr. Bob Beck, Andrija proved that the Soviet transmissions were a weapon. He found that at 6.66 hertz frequency would cause depression, and 11 hertz Signal would cause manic and riotous behavior. Wow, those are interesting numbers. Transmissions could indeed entrain the human brain and thereby induce behavioral modification. Population can be mind controlled en masse by ELF transmissions. More importantly, he found that ELF signal could cause cancer at the flick of a switch. And I'm just going to mention here, this was written by somebody in the UK, I believe, or Australia. So they write a little bit different than we do. That's why the words are a little bit different. It did by modifying the function of RNA transferase. So that's what you went into last time, was how it messes with your RNA. So that's why I brought this up, because I kind of wanted to back up what you said instead of us just pulling it out of thin air.
That's what, yeah, that's all. A lot of the reasoning for the vaccines, they have a lot to do with the 5G technology and all that.
Yeah, I hope not, man. But I believe you now
They
after
do.
reading this. So that amino acid sequences are scrambled and produce unnatural proteins. Mind control torture is alive and well in the UK. MI5 and UK secret police regularly use non-lethal weapons on any dissidents. Since MI5 have well-documented history of hating the Labour Party and were instrumental in bringing down Labour Prime Minister Harold Wilson, they naturally took the spying on and discrediting any group or person who did not follow their rabid right-wing dogma. When Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, I know her. Didn't she start Planned Parenthood? Yeah, she did.
Mm,
She became
yeah.
Prime Minister of the right-wing Conservative government in 1979. She soon saw the police power in recruiting MI5 to be her own secret police. During the miners' strike in the early 80s, Arthur Scargill and his national...
I think in the Bond movies, the older lady that's always in there, I think she's supposed to kind of resemble Margaret Thatcher.
That makes sense. Yeah. No,
I can't remember what her name is right now. Do you remember what I'm talking about? The old lady that always tells him what to do?
Mom. He called her Mom.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
Her kind of makes sense because Margaret Thatcher. That makes sense. I wouldn't put him past it. But I know 007 was based off a real character too, who worked for the Queen and did like their secret operations and whatnot. So, I mean, I'm getting more scared the more I read this. But hey, man, somebody's got to put it out there, and I've never heard it from anybody, and we're doing the work here. So let's keep it going.
It's true.
If this is our last episode, guys, we love you, and we did this for you. Okay. We make no money off this, and we just want to put it out for your info.
It won't be. It won't be.
So the right-wing, during the miners' strike in the early 80s, Arthur Scargill and his National Union of Miners nearly brought the Conservative government down with their year-long strike. Margaret Thatcher used MI5 to spy on miners and to discredit Arthur Scargill. The leading police officers argued against the use of MI5 on the civilian population. They were ignored and replaced because they're kind of like the CIA. They're not supposed to be used on their own population, which they shouldn't exist at all, in my opinion, because they're not doing anything good for us. They're just doing, covert op stuff in other countries. But anyways, if they prove too vociferous, I'm assuming that's like rebellious. Margaret Thatcher was the first prime minister for many a year to sit on the Joint Intelligence Committee's meeting on a regular basis. Thatcher was a trained scientist, would have been well aware of the usefulness of microwave weapons. They are impossible to detect unless you have a detector. Well, we know they're all around us. So dissidents have no idea. Go ahead.
The before she died, there was a list of the 20 most expensive items that the Queen of England owned, and the fourth item was a 100-foot diameter nuclear drill that when it would drill through the earth, it would liquefy the earth material and turn it into glass on the walls, and that's how they dig most of the tunnels. I think there's I don't know how many of them exist, but I presume there's at least 10 of them, maybe more by now, in existence. But yeah, they've been using those drill bits like that for quite some time.
That makes sense because if you superheat sand, it turns into glass or dirt. So
exactly,
that makes total sense.
Yep.
I did not know that. That's why I'm glad you're here, man. You're dropping knowledge on us. Now we'll have more stuff for more episodes.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's how they got all those tunnels done so quick.
Yeah. No, that makes
They're
sense. Well,
everywhere. They go under the ocean and everything. It's nuts.
Elon with his boring company. Committee meeting on a regular basis. Thatcher was a trained scientist. Yep, I read that. Microwave weapons. Possible to detect. But the resources the UK put into this fearsome so-called non-lethal weapon is extensive. UK intelligence runs a fleet of microwave weapons carrying vans and as well as portable microwave weapons that can be deployed near the dissident's home. The vast expanse can be disguised as communication equipment, for as we all know, microwave telephone communication is all the rage in our modern world. My research shows that the microwave telephone network also has the potential to be used as major mind control weapon system to control the behavior of the microwave phone users. Developed under the Conservative government, which was in power from 1979 to 97, the UK secret or black government has at its disposal a fearsome array of mind control weapons. These adherent devices are euphemistically called non-lethal weapons by the UK military. In fact, they kill you slowly by causing nerve damage, cancers, mental collapse leading to suicides, or tissue failure, such as heart attacks due to cooking effect microwaves. Precisely modulated microwave radiation is used to influence brain function. Human behavior and reactions can be entirely controlled by using pulse modulated microwave EM radiation. I think I'm almost done. I think it's actually we're like halfway through. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, at the moment,
Go for it.
no, just keep going.
Okay, no big deal.
You're fine. If I have something to say, I'll just cut in.
Okay. Pulse modulated microwaves are used as the carrier of mind control signals as they are able to pass through the skull, which is rather resistant to low EM. The massive number of microwave antennae that dot the country, some of which are used for microwave phone network, are used pulse modulated microwaves, which makes their use for a strategic mind control device against the civilian population in times of trouble or rioting, crucial to modifying the behavior of general population. In modern democracies, it is no longer viable to shoot rioters or torture dissidents by normal means, as the bad publicity is self-defeating. Thus, microwave weapons have been developed by the UK's military intelligence as they leave no marks or gaping wounds. This pulse-modulated microwave carrier beam can then be used to carry signals. These signals are extremely low frequency recordings of the brain electrical potentials, which have been recorded by neuromedical researchers such as Dr. Ross Addy. Dr. Ross Addy's research at the Brain Research Institute of University of California was funded by the CIA. Man, there's a lot of research to go into this if people want to fact check everything, but I mean, it's an FCC website, so you really shouldn't have to. This is kind of the fact check. In the Pandora... Go for it.
Another item that's tied into all this is chemtrails.
Oh, yeah.
So the aluminum and all the metals that they put into the atmosphere, which is being used to keep the veil intact, of the firmament, they're using those aluminums to generate more of a insulator for the frequencies, for the 5G frequencies and all the frequencies that are being used.
No, for sure. And they use the word chemtrails to make you seem like a conspiracy theorist, which obviously these are conspiracy facts. But if you want to know what real chemtrails are, they're called upper aerosol stratospheric injections. That's the real scientific name for them. You can look it up and they'll show you exactly what they're for. So I won't do that for you either. I like you guys to do your own research. Let me get back on here.
Yeah.
Pandora Project. Yep. In their Pandora Project, a catalog. They always got to name things so crazy. A catalog.
I grew up at the ski area. I grew up riding at in Rockford, Michigan. It was called Panda.
Yeah. No, man, we won't even get into the pandas. The catalog.
I know, it's like the pan.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
We will later.
We will, yeah.
Catalog of different brake signals for specific actions, emotions, and pathological states of mind were recorded. It was found that when microwaves were used to fire these signals at victims' brains, they experienced the moods, behavior, and pathological states carried by these signals. This meant that by mimicking natural brain frequencies, the human brain could be controlled remotely by the use of extremely low frequency broadcasts carried by pulse modulated microwave beams. ELF pulse modulated microwave remote mind control technology. It is now possible to broadcast mind control commands directly into the brain by use of microwave beams. All this is needed is a catalog of every specific brain frequency for each mood, action, and thought. These catalogs of excitation potentials are available from Russian neuromedical research institutes, so anyone with enough cash can have the same technology at their disposal. The UK military mind control groups, the Psychological Enforcement Arms MI5, the AUM sect bought microwave weaponry via their 50,000 Russian converts. Particular excitation potential and then broadcast by pulse modulated microwave transmitter. This pulse modulated microwave beam has the ELF excitation potential frequency imprinted upon it. It was found that each behavioral set in humans had a distinctive frequency. There was one for anger, suicide, hysteria, trauma, serial killing, paranoia, lust, etc. Intelligent. Those are all bad. Why do they need etc.? That's enough right there. Imagine what we could do with this technology to help people, to make them better.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Well, like all the scientists and people that have created stuff in this timeline have all been snuffed out and silenced, and you know what they've done to them.
Yeah, well, and it says that the 30 scientists that helped
William. People want to study somebody that's a good example. William Wright. He's one of the greatest examples of a public demonetization of a human being before the internet. Yeah. And he made all kinds of healing devices with frequency technology. And everything he did was burned. And they put him in prison a couple times and then ultimately killed him.
That's nonsense. That's why they want us at low frequencies, so we can't. Your aura is supposed to go out 6 feet, isn't it? And then most people's is like surface level around them or whatever.
Barely, anything.
Well, and it even said, like you said in the beginning of the article, that the 30 scientists that helped develop it, they were probably told they were doing it for good, and then they all died for some reason. You know, just all of them. They probably had.
Just remember the people in the shadow that have been writing these timelines and agendas. They know this technology very well, and they have for a long time.
Yeah, this would be like magic back. I mean, it essentially is magic, dude. It's just technology.
It is. That's what magic technically. Any kind of ability to affect the algorithm or physical seeing of the simulation is magic.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because back in the day, writing was, they considered that magic. So
it's spelling, spell casting, grimoire, the grimoire, grammar.
Intelligence operatives in the UK regularly park microwave transmitters outside targets' houses and beam specific mood-inducing excitation potentials at the victims to aid them. They have sophisticated millimeter wave scanners to look through the victims' walls so that they can see targets in their homes. Pulse-modulated microwaves are regularly directed at the victims' brains, while other people in their homes are oblivious of what's going on. A leading conspiracy researcher who looks into GCHQ at Cheltenham, found one of these vans with 2 spheres on the roof parked in his road. When he took the number plate and through contacts checked who owned it, he found that it was a mod van. Hopefully, he has found the microwave weapon system before it has done him too much harm. These microwave weapons were developed allegedly at Marconi, when firing microwave beams through walls at specific targets, every material in the way of microwave beam attenuates. I'm going to leave that one there. Or modifies the intensity and frequency of a beam. Since precise frequencies and intensities are needed for mind control, very sophisticated microwave arrays of computer programs had to be developed so that the microwave beam could be changed in response to the materials which lay between the target and the weapon. As the victim moved around the house, to do this, as the victim moved around the house. To do this, the reflectivity of the refractivity of the materials between victim and weapon had to be analyzed in real time and fed to a computer which could change the microwave array in concert with the changing environment between victim and weapons as the target moved around his or her home. Secondly, there had to be an automatic interpreter if another person walked in front of the beam. I'm sorry, I haven't read out loud this much in a very long time, but we're going to get through
You're doing great.
Thanks.
You're doing great.
The victim needed to be driven mad or disabled without anyone else being aware that he or she was being targeted. The technology for this was very complex, but eventually was perfected. 25 or more scientists and military personnel associated with the Marconi project then died in mysterious circumstances. Intelligence personnel regularly kill people to keep them quiet. Maybe they killed the entire research team to keep such diabolical weapons secret. For if it were made public, the scandal would bring down the government. Whatever the real story, by the mid to late 80s, all the problems had been ironed out and these new smart microwave weapons were deployed on the UK streets. The Northern Ireland would have proved the perfect place to test them out. Pulse-modulated microwave weapons had now come of age. By this method, any mood or behavioral set can be conditioned into the target's brain. Intelligence agents keep a log of the victim's behavior to see if more intense treatment is needed and as a guide for the future mind control projects. Oh, isn't that fun? It is alleged that by the method, UFO and conspiracy researchers are routinely driven to commit suicide, having the excitation potential for suicide beamed into your brain day and night by microwave mind control weapons. Soon resets the brain into a cycle of depression that spirals out of control, ending in suicide. Many intelligence and technical officers in the UK who have spilled the beans or could be a potential leak are driven to commit suicide by the special mind control teams run by MI5. If you look at the long list of UK military and the intelligence experts who inexplicably committed suicide, one can see an underlying mind control logic that drives them to kill themselves. Behavioral reinforcement is used in a synergistic way with mind control. It is found that the effect of the microwave beams could be greatly enhanced by external reinforcement. Intelligence community personnel destroy the target's property, ruin their financial affairs, spread vicious rumors, make sexual peccadillos public knowledge.
Or try to set people up into situations where they think that maybe it's going to be a what's the word I'm looking for? Not very harmful situation or just an innocent situation. And then it leads to like maybe a little bit of immorality. And then you do it and they get you with that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, or just, plant, kiddie porn videos on your computer and then come arrest you.
That's why you see professional athletes and actors and actresses. They make people sign clauses now. Like if they're hooking up with people, it's
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Like Aziz Ansari, he got in trouble. The whole Me Too movement. Yeah, that's what that was about.
Yeah, almost all famous people that are on a certain level have clauses for people to sign.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Like in their nightstand, probably. You just pull it out of the nightstand drawer. There's a stack of them in there.
Man, I hope this isn't as long as it says it is, because I'm a little past halfway, but we'll keep it going. That's what we're.
Well, maybe. Well, I mean, if you think so far everything's been really great, so
yeah.
I mean, if you think we should just keep rolling with all the information, or if you can jump around, maybe. But
it's just a long list of info. I'll just read it off. I'll get it done.
Okay.
I think we're already at 48 minutes.
It's been great so far, so I just keep going.
Yeah, it's good info for everybody to know. And the reason we do this is not to scare you. It's because the way to fix a problem is to recognize the problem. So if
you have to face the fears first to have a solution.
Yeah, people, they get all, I don't know, people get uppity with me and tell me a worrywart and all this stuff. And honestly, I'm
Those are
more
people
jaded.
that are just those are people that are just throwing up their defense mechanisms that are built into their fear. Most people are very fear driven because it's been
Yeah,
so indoctrinated into them and agendized. I mean, the whole thing's fear based.
yeah,
So when you have that much fear inside you already to begin with, it's really easy to just automatically use defense mechanisms to fight people off.
yeah.
But really, if you want to break away from that and, really learn and wake up and be able to learn how to not be affected by these things and be protected, you have to first face those fears.
Exactly. You can't fix a problem without recognizing it. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I feel like, yeah, people, I know they don't want to hear about it. I don't want to think about it either. But you know what? I got a little kid, man. It's like we got to protect our kids. How are
We
our
have
kids
to
going to
change for the future.
Right, exactly. If we say no, we don't want this tech used against us, and then we take control of the tech, which I don't know how that's going to be done, but that's why we got all the, if somebody on here knows how it's done, we got to
It's
spread the
so
knowledge.
done.
Right, right. Or we may figure it out eventually. I don't know. I'm just, we got to get it out there,
Oh,
man.
we're figuring it out.
Definitely. There's a reason I was led to this site for sure. Uh, External reinforcement pulse modulated. Okay, so I think I was knowledge, such as wearing women's underwear. Oh, nice. So this is like some of the sexual stuff that they're talking about. I don't know what that word means, but it obviously means like sexually deprived stuff. So, such as wearing women's underwear, which checking
There's some
while
freaks
checking
out there.
oneself. Yeah, definitely. With an orange in one's mouth, external reinforcement of pulse modulated microwave mind control technology was found to be very effective. Intelligence chiefs are now seventh heaven. If someone becomes a problem, they get the suicide mind control team parked outside their house. Within weeks, the victim kills himself. This is very pleasing to the intelligence mandarins, as suicides are easy to explain away. Even if the victim was highly placed politician or military man, if the military intelligence agency does not wish you to commit suicide, they can drive you mad. This is done by beaming excitation potential of particular pathological mental state at your brain while you are at home. To aid in this, the intelligence operatives can place sound and speech in the target victim's brain. The inner
Let me make a note real quick on that.
Yep.
I just want to tell everybody a great thing to remember is depending on how dangerous you feel the information is that you're researching or figuring out, and you feel like there's a really certain level of danger to certain information, make sure that your spiritually and soul is sound before you enter into realms. So a great thing to do is really do your research and really do your knowledge and really be prepared before you start sharing things with other people or even the public on any kind of a stream, because you can invite yourself into dangerous areas that you may not be prepared for.
Why you gotta scare me, man? No, I got you.
You're fine, buddy. I'm talking about people that are new, that are just getting excited, like, oh, I just figured this out.
Yeah.
But you don't want to just jump into sharing things like that right away. You first want to learn about them and figure out the knowledge behind it and get a good plan first before you just start blabbing about something you just figured out.
Right, right. That's why we're doing this, because just to show you we're not just blabbing. That's kind of the point,
Yeah, we're good. That was it.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just finding my place again. To aid in this,
Okay.
the intelligence operatives can place sound and speech in the target's victim brain. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. How they can beam words into your brain and make you think you're going crazy. The
Dude, they can shoot a little hair into you that gives you a heart attack.
Oh yeah, the heart attack gun. I've heard of that too.
Mm-hmm.
The intercerebral hearing is used to drive the victims mad, and no one else can hear the voices transmitted into the brain of the target. Transmission of auditory data directly into the target's brain using microwave carrier beams is now common practice. Instead of using excitation potentials, one of the transducers to modify the spoken word into ELF audiograms that are then superimposed on the pulse modulated microwave beam. Discrediting well-known people who are causing problems for the shadowy elite by driving them mad seems to be standard operating procedure for the intelligence community. Victims are subject to pulse-modulated microwaves, such as carrying different types of madness and behavioral aberrations encoded as ELF excitation potentials. These make the troublesome, high-profile person display manic or insane behavior that discredits them. Examples of this technique are allegedly David Icke, Fergie, Princess Diana, outside environmental reinforcement by the use of media agents in league with MI5. We just talked about David Icke too. Yeah, they made him look like he's a crazy guy. There you go. Fergie? Why are they messing with Fergie, man? Leave Fergie alone. Damn.
There's a great example recently of a guy that made a movie about FEMA camps and re-education and the Masons and guillotines and stuff coming in the future, possibly.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
the 30,000 guillotines.
they made him look nuts, and he went crazy, and then his family turned against him, and then ultimately ended up dead.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about a lot of these guys who are, yeah. I guess we'll never know, but at least we can know from here out, Look a little
That's
deeper
what I'm
into
saying.
it.
Like, make sure you're very protected with knowledge and the knowing of the subject before you dive into it and start spreading it out. So remember that.
I'm gonna be wrapping my apartment with aluminum foil later on, just like.
You're fine. You're more advanced.
I hope so, man. I hope you're right. I trust you.
Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this together if you weren't ready.
Right. No, that makes sense. That does make sense. Everything in its time.
Yep.
We're not that big yet either, so.
We're not that big. Yeah.
It's fine. Nobody's gonna look at us.
My YouTube channel's so censored already. Any feet going here.
We might not even want to put this on YouTube. We might have to put this on Spotify.
Oh yeah.
Makes it assured. Okay.
Rumble.
In the league with MI5, makes it assured that the high-profile person mind-controlled madness. It will be put in the worst possible light to discredit them. In this way, high-profile subversives who cannot be wrongly imprisoned, unlike the Carl Bridgewater prisoners, Birmingham 6, Guildford 4, in the normal way by Britain's police, or killed by assassination squads such as Pegasus Group, are made to look ridiculous. Public humiliation is the finest weapon that authorities have. To make harmless a potential well-known figure who is causing trouble, if the VIP needs to be made temporarily ill, microwave beams containing the signal of the brain gives off during vicious bout or flu can be fired at the victim. This causes the target to display all the symptoms of flu, even though they have not caught the virus. Wow, that's interesting. So 5G came out, and then this causes the target to display the symptoms of flu, even though they have not caught the virus. All right, we're going to leave that there. Don't say anything about that. Just leave it, and people can think about that. Major Ed Dames, the remote viewing specialist who has close links with the U.S. Secretary of Military, alluded to this device on the U.S. TV program. The intelligence agents can also use low-level microwaves to cause mental and physical confusion that lead to illness. Beaming microwaves at victims make them fatigued, damage their immune system, causes neurological damage that affects their thinking and ability to carry out tasks, induces premature aging, cancer, and cataracts. Sussex police regularly use this high-level microwave to clear drinks from the city centers. Sorry, I knew that didn't sound right. Take a drink real quick here.
You're good. How much more is there left?
I'd say a third.
Oh, cool.
So we're at 58 minutes. So this one's going to be a little over an hour, but I think it's well worth it. And then
it sounds like about 15 more minutes of reading. That's perfect.
Yeah. So while researching this matter, I was subject to high levels of microwave, 10 megawatts, wherever I approached their headquarters. Whilst
keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. Yep. I don't even have you on screen, so you're good. Whilst MI5 irradiated my home continually with microwaves, it seems that I touched a raw nerve while researching mind control weapon usage in the UK. Organizations that irritate the authorities have their building turned into hotspot by microwave transmitters, so their staff all suffer sick building syndrome caused by microwave damage, or the staff of the target's organization have their behavior changed by cause discord. UFO Reality and leading UFO conspiracy magazine have complained of mysterious health problems, while another new age group complained of eye damage, nausea, and headaches brought on whenever they had a meeting. Excuse me. Which may have been caused by microwaves, heating the victim to death by microwave cooking is caused by increasing field intensity of the radiation. To cause local hotspots in the victim's eyes and gallbladder, which have poor circulation, so cannot carry away the heat, irradiating the optic nerve of the victim with the same signal that is sent to the brain by this nerve, causes the nerve tissue to overload. In this way, subversives can be blinded by the intelligence community without them knowing what has occurred. An American researcher complained of this problem to me and warned me that this weapon system was being used on my person by MI5. Excuse me, I'm having some indigestion problems here. Neurological research has found that the brain has specific frequencies for each voluntary movement called preparatory sets. Preparatory, yep. When you pick up an object, there is a specific preparatory set for this action. By firing at your chest a microwave beam contained ELF signal given off by the heart, this organ can be put into chaotic state. So the so-called heart attack, just like John was talking about. In this way, high-profile leaders of political parties who are prone to heart attacks can be killed off before they cause any trouble. Neil Kinnock's Labour government was allegedly cheated out by the election victory by postal vote rigging in the 20 key marginal sets. When a new, even more electable Labour leader was found, it was rumored that St. John Smith, the Labour leader, was prompted to have fatal heart attacks while walking in the country with his family by means of a concealed microwave device which operated the vagus nerve to bring about a massive heart attack. Since MI5 have a long history of naked hatred toward the Labour Party, there may be some truth in the above, though no hard evidence has been found. See, they're criticizing themselves. Paralysis can be induced in the target by the use of this method by broadcasting preparatory sets encoded in the microwave beams. I like how, they said that there's no evidence to that, but then they're just stating the rest of this is fact. So, I mean, they obviously have the research there with them. A pulse-modulated microwave beam carrying ELF signal, which is indicated to one of the motor neuron center of the brain, is used to jam the victim's motor coordination. This is analogs to radar jamming, using a more powerful signal at the same frequency to swap out the enemy's radar. Motor neuron preparatory sets potentials are jammed by bigger signal carried by microwave carrier beams that literally overload the brain, so it cannot control the body. Pulse-modulated microwave weapons which broadcast the ELF preparatory sets of motor cortex at the victim will paralyze the victim without killing them. Breathing and heartbeat are involuntary actions controlled by another set of frequencies, in another part of the brain. This technique can be used to abduct people for secret government mind control experiments under the guise of alien abduction. A microwave beam of this nature will paralyze the victims so that they can be bundled in the black helicopter and lifted away for experimentation. Holy crap, John, are you there? Okay, so I'm just going to go over this real quick. They just said that microwave beam of this paralyze the victim procedure. So this technology came out and was developed around the 1950s, and then Roswell, and then I haven't read all the way through this, so this is kind of hitting me too, kind of weird. So so think about that. Basically, the alien front, and then all the alien abductions that started happening since then that people report. I'll just leave that there. Once the procedure is complete, hypnosis can be used to plant false memories of alien abduction. In this way, real alien abductions can be used by the authorities to enable them to obtain a limitless supply of guinea pigs for their mind control experiments. Real memories of government involvement are erased electronically. This technique clears a short-term memory from the victim's consciousness by broadcasting microwave beams at the target which carry the signal used for memory retention. When you remember something, it is first stored away in the short-term memory. After approximately 12 hours, the short-term memory is converted in the brain to long-term memory, after which you remember this information for the rest of your life. If the conversation from short-term memory to long-term memory does not occur, this data is lost. We will see details around us, but try to recall the decor in a restaurant you ate at some weeks ago, and you will see how tenuous memory is. And that makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that either. That's awesome to know. So if you learned something in the last 12 hours that you want to remember, focus on that thing. That way you can remember it for the rest of your life. So if you're watching this whole video and taking the time to watch it, try to focus on it for the next 12 hours, and then you'll remember it for the rest of your life. That's a good tip. Microwave radiation of a specific frequency can interfere with the transfer of memories from short to long-term memory. Microwave radiation at a specific frequency can interfere with the synapses of the brain. By interfering with the connections between brain cells, memory of people can be disrupted. In this way, SEAL Special Forces assassins can be brain wiped after a mission so that they have no idea of the target they killed. Nice. Using hypnosis, false memories can then be planted in the brain so that the gap left by real memory is papered over. The latest advance in electronic mind control were discussed by previous articles in Nexus. This reminds me of A Clockwork Orange for sure. But for those who missed the ESP espionage, this equipment uses special types of microwave beams called masers. These are the laser equivalent of microwave beams. That's kind of what it sounded like. These maser beams have been used to develop something called synthetic telepathy. This is the ability to read people's minds from a distance. Electronic scanning of the victim's brains by monitoring electromagnetic emissions from people's brains and using, amongst other things, the brain waves, as measured on EEG, to read the victim's subvocalized thoughts. Head of Special Forces Major General Shacknow, talked about synthetic telepathy during a lecture in July 1992 at the Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The U.S. military is hard at work at perfecting synthetic telepathy. In synthetic telepathy, the weak electromagnetic signals in the brain associated with subvocalized thought are connected to a computer by use of electrodes, or in more advanced mechanisms by maser beams, sophisticated computer systems that have learnt to read the subvocalized thoughts in the brain by associating a specific brain excitation potential with particular word. In this case, only the specific language can be decoded, as each word in a language has a specific set of frequencies that must be discovered. Once the donkey work of finding the specific frequencies for all the words in a language has been programmed into a supercomputer which can carry out massive parallel processing. Fuzzy logic software is used to match with this real-world excitation potential associated with the subvocalized thought obtained from thousands of abductees, who are used to calibrate the synthetic telepathy devices. GCHQ Cheltenham, the intelligence gathering arm of MI5, possesses the advanced computer systems needed for synthetic telepathy. Synthetic telepathy detects the 15 hertz, I think is what it is, 5 milliwatt auditory cortex brain emissions that are linked with the excitation potentials in the brain associated with subvocalized thought. New technology involving low-frequency microwaves and RF has enabled devices to be built which can scan through the walls and look inside people's bodies like X-rays. This enables security personnel to see the target in his own home and track him throughout the house. Further to this, being able inside the victim's head will allow computer-controlled targeting of specific brain centers in the victim's brain, even when he was walking around the house. A scan of specific brain emissions given off when the victim's subvocalized using an array of pulse frequencies, masers, fired at the specific brain centers of the subversive while he resides in his home enables the victim to be scanned. By firing an array of ELF pulse modulated masers, which scan up and down the window frequency emissions given off by subvocalized thought. Interference effects can be measured by the maser's beam. The victim's ELF brain emissions will interact constructively or destructively with the pulse frequency masers carrying ELF, and the ELF window associated with subvocalized thoughts. If we fire an array of pulse masers which are out of the phase of each other, extraneous noise can be filtered out in a digital domain. You there, John? So you heard what they just said, right? They basically said that it interferes with our electromagnetic frequency.
So, yes, and like I was saying before, if the more materialized and the more agendized and the more indoctrinized of a life being you are and the way you live, the more susceptible you are to these frequencies and the controlling devices. the more work you do to become not so indoctrinated and so influenced by these frequencies, or of being of that being, the more you'll be protected from it and be less affected. I think a lot of people wonder that too. They probably see others and wonder why they're not as affected by certain things as they are, and that once again comes down to the frequency that being is carrying.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I was gonna say, like, that kind of backs up, like, increase your aura. Stop. I
Yeah,
guess stop eating
do
meat
the
and
work.
meditate. And
Yeah,
you don't need
do
meat.
whatever.
I'm eating portobello
Study,
mushrooms. Yeah.
study, and gain as much knowledge as possible on all topics you can to increase your frequency of your being. And really, that's one of the main purposes of life.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna have to go
It's
into my.
not the purpose, but it's one of the main.
Yeah. We'll just do this for this episode, and I'll go into my whole spiritual experience in another episode. But I'm kind of tripping. I feel like I'm getting sunburnt right now, and it's nighttime. So I mean, I do have like a ring light on me and stuff. But hey, man, send me some good energy, everybody. Thank you, please. It would help. That way, I'm not tripping. Placebo effect. That's all it is. It's the placebo effect. I'll tell
Hey,
myself that.
the more people do work unselfishly in the community,
Yeah.
and we're all part of this community, and you don't have to label yourself as part of a community. You're literally part of a community by who you are as a being. So you when you do the works and everybody else is doing the works, we're sharing that energy, and that energy is being passed around to help others as well.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Here, I'll pump out the rest of this. Let me get it out. We can
Oh
talk a
yeah,
little
get her
bit.
done.
The elf pulse signal going in the subversion's brain can lead. Okay, so I think I was, yeah.
My coffee is 32 degrees now, I guarantee it.
Nice, some iced coffee. Since
Iced coffee, no.
the converging elf modulator masers are being affected by the low frequency emissions in the victim's brain, the shift of elf pulse signal going into the subversive's brain can be detected. A simplistic version of the this would be the laser beam shown at the window of the person that is being bugged. The vibrations in the window can cause modulations in the laser that can be converted into electrical signals and hence into sound. In this way, the subvocalized thoughts in the victim's brain can be read. Having already built up the library of excitation potential signatures for different words in the groupings of words, a sophisticated computer can begin to decode the emission signatures into word streams. In this way, the subvocalized thought of victim can be stored into the memory of a supercomputer and be analyzed to give and read out what the target is thinking. So not only are they mining our data, they're mining our thoughts. That's cool. Using ELF audiograms carried by single...
Why do you think constantly your information that you're thinking about shows up on your phone in ads?
Yeah.
Like you didn't even say anything. Like a thought you had, you'll be like, man, I was only thinking about that. I never even said anything about that. And there's an ad on my phone about it.
I have had that
We all
happen.
think that.
Yeah.
Dude, it happens to all of us. There is technology in your phone that can read your thoughts.
So their whole excuse that I've heard that they justify that for is that the algorithms are so smart that they can tell what we're going to be thinking in the future. So that makes a lot. What you said makes a lot more sense based on this research, honestly.
The technology is actually very simple. They make it sound very difficult and very intricate, but it's actually very simple. Frequency technology is very simple, truly.
Build me a freaking device to combat it then, John. Dang it. I'll help
Yeah,
you.
I just told you what you can do. There's all kinds of stuff you can do.
It's within.
And
okay.
there's actually a box you can build that William Reich made called the orgone box. And you know, like the energy that you feel when you orgasm during sex.
Yeah.
That orgasm energy, that's called orgone energy. And you can actually make a box with organic material using fiberglass and just regular wood, I think, because fiberglass is inorganic, and then use like oak is organic, and you do a layer of each twice. So there's 4 layers, and you interval each one. I forget which one you start with and end with, But then you just sit in that box and it creates natural orgasmic energy.
That's cool. Oh, that's awesome. No, I feel like the Padawan here, and I'm just sitting with my master learning things. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
full of all kinds of stuff.
Specific liquid emission signatures and word streams. In this way, blah 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 blah. Using ELF audiograms carried by a single pulse modulated maser, subvocalized thoughts can be placed in the victim's brain. This enables UK synthetic telepathy operators the ability to enter into conversations with the subverse and drive him mad, or bring up keywords which will get the victim thinking about the information they wish to find. Visual cortex excitation potentials can also be broadcast into the victim's brain, so the illusionary images can be projected into the brain to drive them mad, or to program them to commit suicide. My research has led me to uncover the truly nationwide mind control weapon system. Each UK police station is equipped with a vast array of microwave antennae. The Sussex Police Headquarters has 200-foot antenna. The building is surrounded by a fence and off limits to the public. The microwave complex sits in the middle of council housing estate, which means the people in this area are being bathed in low-level microwaves. Nice. The research has found that low-level microwaves give mice cancer, since the emitters tested by the scientists were new ultra-safe mobile phones which give of much smaller intensities than the police antenna. The police microwaves, I think that's a typo. I think it was off. The police microwave system is a serious health hazard. It seems that low-level microwave radiation excites the hydrogen bonds in the cell and can interfere with meiosis. This causes cell division to go wrong, which leads to cancerous cells, and hence tumors. Secondly, the police have been granted exclusive use of 450 MHz wave frequency range. This is exactly the frequency used by Dr. Ross Idy, the CIA mind control expert, in this experiment on behavioral modification. It seems the police have the exclusive use of mind control frequencies and a vast array of antennae to broadcast this frequency all over the country. Very useful for mass mind control in times of emergency. Addy found that by using 0.75 megawatt intensity, the pulse modulated microwave at the frequency of 450 megahertz, it was discovered that ELF modulation could be used to control all aspects of human behavior. The Sussex Police Headquarters is connected to CCTV, the closed circuit television cameras throughout the town. Some of these cameras have microwave telemetry devices that could easily be used to broadcast this frequency. This is reminding me of They Live. The large antenna that brackets the town could also be used. This most insidious aspect of this is the entire mobile phone network that could easily be used to control the behavior of the phone users. By use of microwave detector, I have found that mobile phones of the newer type give off a pulse modulated microwave signal around 0.75 megawatts at the earpiece. This may be coincidence, but it is exactly the intensity required for behavioral control found by Dr. Ross Addy. It's not coincidence, buddy. It's not. The pioneer of microwave mind control. So, in theory, the ELF signal could be added to the microwave network to feed a precise behavioral pattern into every mobile phone user in the UK. If there were widespread riots and the ability to broadcast behavioral stimuli to mollify all the mobile phones users in the country would prove useful. Since the mobile phone users are generally middle class, it means that authority has the useful method of controlling the behavior of key voters. Microwave carrier beams are perfect for transmitting the excitation potential of docility to the phone user to keep them servile in times of trouble. When no F signals is broadcast to the phone, acts as completely different manner on behavior in humans. In this case, the microwave phone causes the neurons, believe that's how they spell it, to release calcium ions, makes the user tired, irritable, and when stressed, likely emotional outbursts such as road rage. In Brighton, the local MI5 headquarters has a large microwave array on its roof. Secret bunkers in the area also have large microwave arrays in them. It is a child's play to transit an ELF modulated signal to be broadcast by the entire mobile phone network. If need be, by this means, the entire mobile phone users can be behaviorally modified at the cost of developing cancer from low-level frequency exposure from their phones they are constantly use. Stressful, the neural network by constant calcium ion efflux, and interference with biometric fields. They're getting really scientific right here, so I'm just going to pump through this. It seems the strange that few melicurious.
I was about to say the same thing. It seems like we're just kind of really. I think everybody kind of gets the picture now
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
the effects and the dangers of it,
Let
and
me.
now they're really just getting into the fine details.
Yeah, no, it's well, and it's mind control. Essentially, it's mind control. It
Right.
causes cancer. They can literally make you commit suicide with it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and we're way
It's
beyond this
it's
technology. So
it's the most powerful weapon in existence right now.
yeah, there's some references down here. Hold on, let me just read this last part because I'm scanning through it and I just want to see what
Yeah, do
if they
you?
have any really good stuff in here because some of it is really good. Uh,
Oh yeah.
they had a
A lot of
200 million
the
pound
first
budget. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say a lot of the earlier stuff they were hitting on points that were really great, and now they're just kind of hitting the fine details on what they were
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, we'll cut it out there with the reading because I'm getting fatigued. I've been reading for an hour straight. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, totally. Just gonna wrap it up, I guess, on some good points.
yeah. Let me here. Let me pull it back up. We'll see. So there's references: electronic mind control, non-lethal, John B. Alexander, the Pentagon's Penguin by Army Victorian, Lobster, June 1993. This is an excellent article on the U.S. black government's hard man of the mind control world. Recommend for those who would he would recommend for those who would like to know how these people think and work. So if you want to go into how the U.S. government thinks about it, look up John B. Alexander, the Pentagon's Penguin by Armin Victorian. And then
Interesting.
they have more about UFOs, John King, Mind Control and UFOs by Alex Constantine, February 1996. So they've been knowing about this for a long time. And then they were putting out books in the 90s about it. But of course, everybody stopped reading. So, you know, nobody probably read any of this. Or not nobody, but very few. I hate generalizing everything. Uh, Neuropsychological Effects of Radio Frequency and Microwave Radiation, Bulletin of New York Academy of Medicine. These are like real references. These are all
Yeah, no, it's great.
science. This is all the references. So it's over. Yep. I skipped the last little bit where it got super scientific. We can chat on that.
You will always find the truth and the true being and what you are looking for in the knowing by comparing and contrasting many sources of information.
Yep.
So whenever you want to learn about something through studying, writing it from others and what they studied, you have to study at least about 5 sources to really get a grasp on what is the truth.
This will be the test if our YouTube channels get shut down. There you go. But I'll send you the link as well so you can put it in yours. And I'm going to put this link in mine so people can read it
Yeah,
themselves
totally.
and know that it's real
Yeah.
and look it up. And like I said, just real quick, I'll get out of this screen and show them again. I looked up just to make sure this stuff was real. I looked up these guys and I made sure they were real people that were in the articles. So if you go back up here to the beginning, the way you tell stuff is real or not, start checking the sources. So David Morrison
Mm-hmm.
and the other guy was Tim Roffett. I'm not gonna pull that back up.
Yeah,
He has multiple. Go ahead.
you'll find in a lot of early construction history from around the 1900s that a lot of the people that are listed as the contractors and architects for construction don't even exist.
Yeah, yeah. You just got to look into the actual sources of it and like check the people that you see in the articles because like this guy ended up being a top of the line military guy and the other guy's an author and he has multiple books on the stuff. So if you want to read more about this and figure out more about this, that's out there, man. People just they're not asking these questions, you know. And I've heard about it from multiple places, but nobody ever dives deep on it. They're just like, oh yeah, the mind control microwave tech, you know, that stuff, and then they go on about their other conspiracy stuff and I'm like, okay, that's cool because I like listening to conspiracy podcasts and stuff, but I mean, this is the real.
There's truth everywhere. There's
Yeah,
truth everywhere.
yeah, you got to pay attention to the interesting little things you hear and be like, oh, hold up, let me look that up, you know. But did you
Even
want to?
even the most insane people out there that just are talking about complete nonsense will spit out some truth here and there.
I was gonna say, man, you talk because I'm done with talking, but like maybe give some more solutions, more practices people can take, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean,
Just reiterate it.
personally, because because I've gone personally through a lot of this on a very personal level, especially with the attacks on a frequency level. And I seem to have a very heavy protection from all of it. I've been affected too. We all get affected, but my effects aren't as heavy, I've noticed, as others. And the reason of it is you have to be in a state of knowing. Believing isn't enough. Believing is just what gets you there. So, that's the analytical thought and the research and the studies. That's the belief. But then once you get the belief and you have the knowledge and the understanding or the understanding, you have to use the knowing. Then you have to know that it's true. And that's what puts it into play. Until you actually know something's truth or actually know inside yourself that something is of a true nature, you will not get results with just belief. You will maybe, but it takes a lot longer.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, man. That's I'm practicing that now, and you're helping me a lot. So, and that's
Yeah, a lot of people are new to that whole kind of thought process,
yeah,
and it's
gnosis.
we all use it every day. We just don't think of it on a technical level.
Yeah,
Everybody's using it in sports. They're using it in their work. It's
visualizing it.
used in parenting. We either use that knowing that really has a driving force and inner force behind it, or we use the external pressure, which is more of the other way. And the external takes a lot longer, and that's that believing.
Yeah. Yep. No, I can see that totally because like by knowing something, it'll give you more motivation to actually act on it. Whereas like if I just told you about microwave brain tech, you'd be like, I don't know if that's real, and then you believe it for a little bit, and then you go back on it. But we just read this in front of you, by a
Hmm.
government website, and the stuff that you hear in there about UFOs and them abducting people. I think you were gone on that part, but they mentioned that they could make you feel like you had the flu,
Hmm.
and then
Remember also too from my personal studies, UFOs and all that stuff. There's a lot deeper knowing to all of that nature. They aren't coming, most of them aren't coming from other planets like they tell you. Most of them are already here in this plane and in this dimension. And there are beings that can enter this dimension, but there's not very many of them. And they're very high, um, they're beings from a very high frequency, and they only come here very rarely
yeah,
uh, for a very big reason. So most entities that are here, and the other thing too with aliens, it's just kind of a cover name for demons. So,
that makes sense. I mean,
which are demons and angels. Remember,
yeah,
not
yeah.
all entities are evil.
I guess you could see it as either
So,
one. Demons could be a cover name for the aliens, or either way. Because
yeah, or you can just say, or there's the other terms, which would be the Aramon or the Luciferians.
yeah,
Those are
the
both angels and
archons.
demons as well.
Yeah,
The archons, the primevals, the
yeah,
list goes on.
yeah. Right, right. There's just a bunch of different names for. Well, it might be different things.
Goddesses,
Yeah,
gods, you name it.
that's
Yep.
crazy. Well,
Yeah.
it kind of
I
makes
think
me.
that's a great point. Let's just end right there. I think it's a great episode.
Is that pretty? You want to finish out on that? You didn't get to talk that much, so that's the only reason I wanted to.
I think that was a great one. I think we hit a really good topic there, and we got
Okay.
some really good information. That was a great article to read. It was very well covered on the subject.
Right, right. Well, and I'll leave it there too. I just want to leave on kind of a positive note that just maybe practice if you can't, meditation is hard. Um it's clearing your mind. There's different types of meditation, but I think the most positive form of it to increase your aura is clearing your mind, and and it's hard to do. That's why people don't practice it, because sit there for 5 minutes and try not to think of anything. It's very hard with all the crap we have in our lives, but just start with a minute, a minute. If you can do it for a minute, then you can do it for two. And just like push-ups, if you're going to do 20 push-ups, the next day do 21, next day do 22, you'll build up that muscle and be able to kind of help your aura. But it does go along with like what we hit with just eating healthy, drinking good water, purified water, get the fluoride out of your diet, all that stuff. So I'll leave it there as well.
Another way, everybody, to do good meditation as well, and one of the ways I love do it. And this way I don't feel like I'm getting bored or anything, and it helps me concentrate. Is there's on YouTube, there's like 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour recordings of really good meditation musics and meditation tones.
Okay.
And those really help as well. Like I personally, my favorite one's Dr. Wayne Dyer's meditation music, and I use his constantly for meditation. So you can do it that way as well. Just type in meditation music and tones on YouTube, and a whole bunch of different stuff will come up and give you a whole bunch of
Yeah.
options. That's a great way to do it as well. And just like anything, practice makes perfect. It's just like riding a bike or surfing or snowboarding. You just keep working at it. And yeah, you're not going to first be able to force things to happen or even have knowledge or knowing on how to make things happen in meditation. But the more you practice it and the more you do it every day or every other day, each time things will naturally start happening.
Yeah. No, that's a good ending point, man. I just work on improving yourself, guys, however you can. You don't have
Yeah.
to do it all at once.
Yeah.
A little bit at a time.
Yep.
A little bit
A little bit at a time.
It's okay. The best day, the best day to start was yesterday, but the next best day is today. So
Today, yeah.
when you're done watching this video, like me, I'm gonna go meditate after this, just so we have a little bit of protection. But I'll leave it there, John. If you want to say bye to everybody, and then go ahead.
Oh, much love, everyone, and everybody have a great rest of your evening.
Evening, morning, wherever you're at. Yeah, much love from us, and I'm not going to bless you this time. I'm going to say, may you all be favored by the Most High. Love y'all. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Toot, toot, toot.
Nice, that was a good one. That was great.